Said, given how actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media, we are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material and relevant evidence.
The times where people ignore the red flags and say, let's just keep pushing, those are the times where you fail. The majority of things that we're buying are created by men. You always learn more from your failures than you do your successes.
Let me just tell you, this leaked phone call, it has people shook because if what's being said is true, Blake Lively might be in big trouble. This isn't just about a Hollywood disagreement. It's about power, control, and what really went down behind the scenes of It Ends With Us. And now, with insiders talking, receipts being dropped, and even Ryan Reynolds getting dragged into the mess, the backlash against Blake is growing fast. People are saying she didn't just have a say in the movie, she took over, making decisions that pushed Justin Baldoni to the sidelines. According to sources, she wasn't just a lead actress. She was allegedly calling the shots, making demands that completely shifted the direction of the film. And now, the narrative is turning against her. Hollywood insiders, the media, even fans who used to love her, are starting to compare her to Amber Heard. That's how bad this is getting. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, he's being painted as the victim in all of this, gaining tons of public sympathy. But the real question is, how much of this is true? And if the industry is turning its back on Blake, what does that mean for her future? Hang on, because this is just the beginning.
The person who wrote to me said that they worked on the set of It Ends With Us, okay? And that the villain in this entire story is not Blake Lively, it's not Justin Baldoni, but it is Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan started the fire!
Allegedly. Don't gag order or sue me, Ryan Reynolds, okay? I don't want to be involved in your drama. I'm just telling my audience what I was told. He goes into Blake Lively's trailer and they have an argument. All of the production assistants overheard the argument.
At first, Blake Lively had the perfect Hollywood image, charming, down to earth, the kind of celebrity people genuinely liked. But now, the narrative is flipping fast. People are saying that behind the scenes of It Ends With Us, she wasn't just the lead actress, she was running the show as an executive producer. That gave her power, and according to insiders, she used that power to take control in ways that a lot of people found unsettling. They're saying she demanded constant script changes, overruling the director, pushing her own creative vision, and making sure nothing happened without her approval. It wasn't collaboration, it was control. And the worst part, some crew members are claiming they felt afraid to push back. Because when someone as famous as Blake Lively has that much influence, who's going to risk their career by speaking up? But here's where things really escalated. On February 22nd, The Hollywood Reporter ran a cover story featuring an image of Blake holding a slingshot, aimed directly at Justin Baldoni. And let me tell you, people noticed the symbolism, unmistakable. It looked like a public power move, like she was literally taking aim at the person people are now calling her biggest victim. Blake's response? She called the cover sexist, but social media wasn't buying it. Instead of sympathy, people mocked her, saying she was just trying to shift the blame instead of owning up to what really went down. And now, the damage is done. The industry is talking, fans are questioning everything, and Blake's reputation is on the line.
Justin says that Blake was determined to make him the real-life villain in her story because she wasn't doing well on the promo tour for the movie. It was very tone-deaf. Her hair care line wasn't doing well. She was trying to sell booze while talking about domestic violence. Justin says the war between himself and Blake really started in May 2023 when they started shooting the movie. He claims that she was organizing a takeover strategy.
But this is just one piece of the puzzle. Because the backlash isn't stopping here. And just when you thought the scandal couldn't get any messier, here comes Ryan Reynolds, dragged straight into the chaos. Now, at first, it seemed like this was all about Blake Lively, but according to a mysterious source, Ryan might actually be the real villain in this situation. And if what's being said is true, he wasn't just a bystander. He was actively involved in making sure Justin Baldoni was pushed out. Reports are saying that Ryan was spotted storming into Blake's trailer one day. And whatever happened inside, it wasn't pretty. Production assistants nearby allegedly heard a heated argument, one that had people wondering if the pressure was finally getting to both of them. But that's not even the worst part. Insiders are claiming that Blake and Ryan worked together to keep Baldoni away from his own movie. Apparently, they pulled strings to block him from promoting it, keeping him from press events, and making sure the spotlight stayed on Blake. And if that's true, that's not just controlling, that's calculated. Then came the SNL moment. During Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary special, Ryan tried to joke about the controversy, probably thought he could lighten the mood, brush it off like it was all just tabloid nonsense. But the audience did not think it was funny. Fans immediately called it tone-deaf and insensitive, saying it just proved how little he cared about the backlash. And now, people aren't just turning on Blake, they're looking at Ryan too. Because if these claims are even half true, then this isn't just a case of one actress taking too much control. This is a power couple using their influence to silence someone else. And Hollywood, they're watching closely.
He told us that Justin Baldoni claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it. I want all the roles for me and only me. I want full control because I am a controlling bully. That Justin Baldoni, ultimately, by the time they got to the premiere, was mandated by Blake Lively to spend the night in the basement away from his co-stars and didn't even get to see the final cut of his own movie because Blake Lively insisted that she be the one to approve it.
Blake Lively has always had a loyal fan base. People who admired her, defended her, and saw her as one of Hollywood's untouchable stars. But now, that loyalty is crumbling fast. Her social media following plummeting. Fans who once praised her are now turning away, while Justin Baldoni, who, let's be honest, was never the main character in Hollywood, has gained huge public support. People are seeing him as the underdog in this situation, the guy who got pushed out of his own movie by someone with way more power and influence. And this is where things take an even darker turn, because people are now saying that Blake weaponized the hashtag #MeToo movement to make herself look like the victim. It's the same comparison that keeps coming up. Amber Heard. Fans are saying Blake tried to discredit Baldoni the way Heard falsely accused Johnny Depp, spinning the narrative so that she looked like the one being wronged. But here's where things really start falling apart. There are reports that Blake tried to alter or even delete text messages to back up her version of events. The problem? Baldoni's team allegedly kept everything. They have the original records, and when the inconsistencies started showing, it exposed Blake in a way she wasn't prepared for.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact that he's a man. But he's, to me, is sort of the embodiment of what happens when you totally emasculate a man. And then she continued, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone.
And now, even the people who used to be in her corner are silent. One of the biggest signs, Taylor Swift. Taylor and Blake have been close for years, practically inseparable. But throughout this entire scandal, not a word from Taylor, no public support, no Instagram likes, nothing. And in Hollywood, silence speaks louder than words. So at this point, it's not just about whether Blake's career can survive. It's about whether anyone in the industry even wants to stand by her anymore. Justin Baldoni isn't playing this game the way Blake Lively is, and honestly, it's working in his favor. While Blake has been out here making public statements, pushing back on social media, and trying to control the narrative, Baldoni has done the opposite. No heated interviews, no dramatic social media posts. He's keeping his composure, letting his legal team handle the mess, instead of getting dragged into a media circus. And that is why people are respecting him more than ever. Instead of attacking Blake publicly, he's staying calm and professional. He's letting the facts and the lawsuit speak for themselves.
Was what Blake says, a conversation that she heard had taken place with Steve Sarowitz. Steve Sarowitz is the head of Wayfair Studios. He is the co-founder of Wayfair Studios, along with Justin. And she says in this lawsuit that, and it's interesting, she says, this is what I heard, he said, but it's presented as a quote in the lawsuit. She says that Steve said, I will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas.
And speaking of lawsuits, this just got even bigger. Baldoni and his team have filed a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times. accusing them of actively helping Blake revive her struggling image by participating in a smear campaign against him. If that's true, then this wasn't just a PR battle. It was a calculated effort to make Blake look like the victim while tearing Baldoni down in the process. And now, Hollywood is watching. Because in an industry where public perception is everything, Baldoni has positioned himself as the steady, reliable figure in all of this, a stark contrast to the chaos surrounding Blake. And whether or not he wins the lawsuit, one thing is clear: his reputation has never been stronger. Meanwhile, Blake, she's watching everything she built fall apart. Blake Lively's career isn't just at risk, it might already be falling apart. Hollywood insiders are saying that major studios and directors are rethinking whether they even want to work with her. Because at the end of the day, no matter how famous you are, if you gain a reputation for being controlling and unpredictable, you become a liability. And for big-budget productions, that's not something they want to deal with. Rumors are already swirling that some of her biggest upcoming projects might be quietly canceled. No formal announcements, just slow, behind-the-scenes decisions to move on without her. And in an industry that thrives on relationships and reputation, once you start getting labeled as difficult, it's a short road to being blacklisted from major productions.
Dear Judge Lyman, as counsel for Wayfair Studios LLC, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Melissa Nathan, the Agency Group PR LLC, and Jennifer Abel, collectively the Wayfarer parties, we write to advise the court of an issue that the Wayfarer parties wish to address at the upcoming conference on Monday, February 3rd, 2025.
So what's next for Blake? Some insiders believe there's only one way forward. She might have to swallow her pride and issue a public apology, a full-on PR reset, not just some vague, carefully worded statement, but a real acknowledgement that she went too far, that mistakes were made, and that she's ready to change. Because if she doesn't, Hollywood has a way of moving on fast, and the way things are going, Blake might be out before she even has a chance to fix it. Ryan Reynolds might not be the main target in this scandal, but his reputation, it's taking a hit. At first, people weren't really focused on him. This was Blake's controversy, but the more his name kept coming up, the arguments behind the scenes, the alleged power moves, and especially his jokes about the situation, the more people started looking at him differently. Fans who once saw him as the charming, funny, good guy actor are now questioning just how sincere he really is. Because, let's be honest, his attempts to laugh off the controversy, not a good look. Some people think he's being dismissive, like he doesn't actually care how serious the backlash against Blake has become. And that is not sitting well with audiences.
He and 9 other plaintiffs, including his publicists, have brought a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times, essentially alleging them of libel and false light invasion of privacy. So Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, he told BBC's partner CBS that the newspaper aided and abetted a smear campaign designed to revitalise Lively's floundering.
Now, some fans are even threatening to boycott his projects if he keeps downplaying the situation. His upcoming movies, his business ventures. People are saying they don't want to support someone who doesn't take accountability. And here's the real problem. Hollywood loves Ryan Reynolds, but Hollywood also loves a clean image. If this scandal keeps growing, if his name keeps getting dragged into it, and if he doesn't handle it the right way, studios might start seeing him as another liability. And for someone who's built a massive brand on being the likable guy, that could be disastrous. Justin Baldoni might have started as the underdog in this situation, but now he's walking away from this scandal stronger than ever. While Blake and Ryan are scrambling to manage the fallout, Baldoni has done exactly what he needed to. Stayed composed, stayed professional, and let the facts speak for themselves. And because of that, people respect him more than ever. Hollywood loves a redemption story, but even more than that, it loves someone who can handle controversy without making a mess. And right now, Baldoni is being seen as a man of integrity, someone who is unfairly pushed aside, yet never stooped to the level of public drama. That kind of image, It matters in this industry.
Asking for the gag order and explaining how he's talking too much. He's threatening to post stuff on public sites. So what I think is, this looks good for Baldoni, right? He's like, we want to make it all public. And sometimes lawyers can do this knowing that they can't actually do what they say they're going to do.
That she became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while she was filming. She states that Mr. Baldoni put his bare hands on her backside and said that he was trying to help her with her posture. Complainant immediately voiced her displeasure with being touched on an intimate part of her body, and Mr. Baldoni responded with, "It's fine."
Justin Baldoni's attorneys got back regarding that filing, and they basically called them out, as they always do. And I'm going to show you what they said. They said, given how actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media, we are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material and relevant evidence.
Now there's talk that this whole situation could actually boost his career. Directors, producers, and industry insiders are reportedly taking notice. They see him as a steady, reliable figure, someone who handled a tough situation with grace, while others were caught up in their own damage control. And in a business that thrives on reputation, that could open a lot of doors. So while Blake fights to hold on to what she has left, Baldoni's future is looking brighter than ever. More acting roles, bigger directing opportunities, a newfound level of respect in Hollywood. And the best part, he didn't even have to fight for it. He just had to be himself. At this point, Blake Lively's future in Hollywood is hanging by a thread. She has two choices: double down on the victim narrative and risk pushing the industry even further away, or take real responsibility, issue a genuine apology, and try to salvage what's left of her career. But after everything that's happened, it might already be too late. Ryan Reynolds isn't in as deep, but if he doesn't play this right, he could easily go down with her. The backlash against him is growing, and people are watching to see if he keeps brushing this off or finally takes it seriously. If he's smart, he'll distance himself before this controversy completely taints his brand. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, he's walking away from all of this as the winner. He handled everything with professionalism and grace. And now, Hollywood is rewarding him for it. People are already predicting that his career is only going up from here, and honestly, they're probably right. For now, Blake Lively is at risk of losing everything, while Baldoni has gained Hollywood's respect and the public support. But is this really the end for her? Or will she somehow find a way to turn things around? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for the latest.